Hello, my name is Eduardo and today I am here with another tutorial for App Inventor. And well, if you check my last video, that it was just a very simple preview about the game that I was trying to make, okay? Now you know that I am working on a kind of car game, okay? So, well, here we have the car, okay? I need you, if you check, here we have this very simple car. And then we have here some letters, okay, that these are like buttons, but these are not buttons, this is a canvas, okay. And basically the idea is to move the car and try to pick those items that is like fuel or something. Well, this is just a very simple idea, and if you check, I am just trying to rotate this guy or to the left or to the right. Also with the S you increase the speed until you get to 4, that is the maximum, and if you go so fast you can use the brake. Well, basically that is the idea for this tutorial, okay. It's simple, it is not like quite finished, I mean the idea, because if you check the car, it's also like shooting when you touch up from the canvas. Okay, I was thinking about some enemies or destroying something, okay, or maybe like to having a life bar and you have to take the fuel in order to continue the game. But well, I will show you how to move this little car, how to rotate, how to use these things using canvas, a second canvas, okay. So you haven't checked my other tutorials from App Inventor, I mean the one for the boat and the other one for the helicopter, please check them, okay. I have some very interesting concepts over there. But anyway, so let's start. Everything that you have in here, that I have in here, it was made in Inkscape. So this little simple square or car pretending to be a car, it's very simple, okay. So now let's start, and let's start adding a new screen so to work with the project. Okay, I will start adding a new screen for this thing, and just let me check, and we're going to start. Okay, so as I told you, we have here the new screen and we're going to start working with these things. Now I'm not going to work and to show you many things about the Inkscape, because I showed you in the previous video that it was very long, okay, and I designed the main idea about my interface in here. If you check, I have here my canvas that is 320 times 569. That this is the size that App Inventor reports to me, okay. So now then I was just having this. If you check here, we have sorry, just let me ungroup this thing. Here we have, let me remove this green thing, this square, and it's like 250 times 250. So this is for me, it is like having my horizontal arrangement, okay, to place inside my canvas for the game, the main canvas. So and this is 242 times 235, and then under this thing I will plan to use this image for a second canvas. Okay, so these are just for rectangles, and then I just add some letters, and that's it. For the car, pretty extra mega simple, and it is like 16 pixels times 32. Okay, so right now I will change the color, something more muscle. So I will remove this, or I will just make them thinner here, and then I'm going to duplicate these ones and move them upwards, and maybe that's the thing. Then we have the bullet, okay, very simple thing for 8 pixels times 4 pixels. I export all of these things just like selecting them, and then I go to my working folder, and then I have car. I will add a second car just to use it for the tutorial, so the green one. So card number 2, export, and then I have my graphic over there in App Inventor. Okay, so now also this fuel, it is another rectangle, 16 times 16, okay, and I export it. So well, so we are ready to start, I guess. So well, let's go here. So remember, the main idea is that I have here, we're going to use canvas to canvas, but first let's add some horizontal arrangement. Also here in the screen, let's set it to center, and then we're going to use scrollable, no, sorry, portrait, and maybe for the top, I mean align vertical, it is just to the top, I guess, for the screen, sorry, top. For the horizontal arrangement, we are going to center everything, and we're going to give the size of 250 pixels, sorry, and then we go for 200 pixels, so it's a beautiful square. Now in this square, we are going to give a color just to visualize this thing. We're going to set the screen to light gray or gray, and then if you check in here, we need some space. So to do that, we can drag an image, an empty image, over the horizontal arrangement. Then we can set it to height to 20%. Let's see. Oh, it's too much, maybe. Let's set it to 15% because we need another canvas, remember. I guess that's okay. Now, in the horizontal arrangement, we are going to insert the canvas. This canvas goes in here, it is center, and if you remember in in Inkscape, the size for this thing is 242 times 235. In this case, I'm not going to export this because I'm just going to use the values. I use the Inkscape to see the way this thing looks. Okay, so 242 and 235. So for canvas, 235 for height, 235, and for width, 242. That's it. And then for this one, I'm going to set this to another gray. So in this case, gray. So let's see in this window. Okay, so now it looks good. Well, not the green thing, but don't worry, just an horizontal arrangement. We can set it to white, maybe. I like it. So we have this white thing, then we have here the canvas, and now we need a sprite for the car. We're going to rename, and we're going to call it sprite car. Sprite. Okay, car. That's it, and we're almost done with this. So now what we need now, let's see what we have. So what we have now, it is that the game, it is almost done. Okay, well, not the game, I am talking about the design. Okay, did you check here? We have this thing, so we are going to insert the card in here, and then we're going to add the second canvas. Okay, so let's do that. That's it in here. So let's remove this image and this window. So now, so let's go to this. So let's add another layout. We can add a second layout, or we can just add the canvas. I'm not going to insert it in this case, or no. Yes, we are going to insert under this thing, And if we check the size of this image in Inkscape, so it is the canvas, it is 242 times 200. So we can make the canvas a little, the horizontal arrangement a little bigger. Okay, so if we have this, what if we set it to 250 times 250? So let's see if we can set this thing like that. So 250 and then 250. Okay, so and then we are going to check this in companion. Obviously we cannot see anything, but we can give a white color, so it looks quite good. And then we are going to insert the second canvas, so that this is for the controls. So again we return here just to check the size, 242 times 200, 242 times 200 for the height. It looks okay, but we need some we need the image. Okay, of course I just uploaded the image, so in that case it is not necessary for me, but I need to upload the car. Remember that I just upload another car. So let's go here to the working folder, and that is App Inventor. Then we go for Racing Inventor, Sprites. Here we have the car and we have the controls over there. We're going to import this one, and then we're going to well, we have the other, that is the controls. Okay, so it's not necessary, just some controls here for the background image for the second canvas. Let's go for controls, upload this thing, and it looks quite okay. Just let's center this thing, center, and if you check it, it's like going down, so we have to reduce the size of this thing, and let's reduce this to 8%. Almost, let's reduce this to 6% maybe. I guess that's okay, but just in case, 5%. I guess I like it. Maybe the height is okay. Let's reduce the height, or that's okay. This is 200 and this is 250. Let's reduce this to 220 to reduce the space, and that looks much better. Okay, so well, we have this thing, we have the other canvas, so we are ready. We have the car also. We need to add the image, so let's use car 2. And let's check the size. The size in here, if you remember the original from the thing, is 32 times 16. 32 times 16. So 32 for the width times 16. I guess that's okay. Yeah, or we can increase it to 48, for example. 32, no, 64 times 32, but I guess that's okay. I don't want to have a very big car, so let's just check it in case, just in case. So let's say that is 64 and this is 32. It's quite big, the car. So what about half? So this is 16 and this is 32. I prefer a small car right now. Well, now check. We have this graphic, okay? that it's this black thing. I was thinking that is the hood of the car, so that is facing right. So in that case it's okay, because the heading says 0, that means going to the right. We have rotates enabled, and then for the interval, let's set it to 10 to have a very fluid car. Speed 0, and that's it. Okay, so it's like that. Now let's go to the blocks and let's start like trying to make this game. Okay, so now let's go for these things. The first thing that we need, okay, it is to start like moving things. To move things, we use sensors. We use the clock. So we are going to have here a clock. We're going to disable the clock, and we're going to set the clock to 48 maybe. We can set it to less thing, okay? So, well, we have the clock, just in case we need to use a clock. So now, let's start thinking. If we have this game, when I touch in here, I want something to happen. When I touch in here, I want something to happen. When I touch in here, I want something to happen, and in here, something else. So the idea is that we have to divide this canvas in 4. Okay, so we're going to use some values in here, some conditions, I mean. So let's go in here, and the first thing that we are going to do, it is going to the clock. Okay. Let's see if we're going to add the movement. So maybe we can just use the speed of the car. Yes, I guess that's better. So I will explain though this, because I can use a clock to animate the car, or I can use the internal clock that the car has, that is here, that is an interval of here moving, okay, and then you just set the speed based on the heading it's going to move. Okay, so basically that is the idea about the car. So we need to enable the movement of the car. Well, to do that, we are going to use some conditions. Okay, we are going to enable these movements when we press in certain areas of the canvas. So for example, so let's start with left and right. I want to rotate my car, okay, when I touch this part. Okay, so let's add here an if condition, and we are going to use this inside this clock number 1. Okay, and the first condition, it says this. So we need to detect the touch. Okay, so the touch is in canvas number 2. Remember, this is canvas 1 and this is canvas 2. Okay, so we need to work with canvas 2, and we need to check or detect. So we can use touch up or touch down. We're going to use touch down. We're going to use touch down to take the values of x and y, the position of my x, it's basically, in this case, my x, okay, and my y, but we're going to create 2 variables. First, the x touch, and of course the y touch. So we need this to set the coordinates. So let's set these values, or initialize these values at 0, and that's it. Now, when we touch down, we are going to set the x to the x from the touch down in canvas number 2. And then for this one, we are going to do the same, but for y. So when we touch, we are going to pass these values of the touch, or the coordinates, to the x and y. We are going to do this in order to be able to use this in other blocks, because if not, you cannot use this value in here. For example, you say, I want to use this value. It says that it's a mistake, okay, because you need to set it from a variable that it's global. Okay, so in this case the variable is global. This is like a local variable. Well, now let's start with the first condition. So let's think about, if we have this is the canvas, remember the values, the 0 value, it is in here, and the maximum value of the canvas, imagine that if this canvas is 320, it's in here, 320. So when we go to the right, we have big values, okay, we increase the values of x, and when we go to this side to the left, we decrease until we get to 0, okay. And when we talk about y, or the height, 0 is in here again, and when we go down, we're going to increase the values. For example, here is 0, and maybe perhaps here is 300 something, okay, so the maximum value of the canvas. So we go, if we go up, we decrease, and we go down, we increase values. Increase to the right, decrease to the left. So now, what is the idea? If we want to enable, so what about left? So we want a value that is less than the half of the canvas, or the width of the canvas, less, okay, and bigger than the, in this case, than the half of the canvas, So let's do that, and we're going to use here first a condition, and we're going to use and. So no, this is not the one, and because we're going to use two conditions. It has to be in less than the half, talking about the width, and more than the half, talking about the width of the canvas. So now, so we are going to use here global, in this case the global x. If the global x, and we're going to use here this, we're going to compare the values. If the global x touch, when we touch in here, it is less than, as I told you, we need to use the value of the canvas, and we're going to divide this by 2, okay, to have the half of the canvas. So we're going to use here divide and math. We're going to use a division, canvas divided by 2, so half of the canvas. If this value, the x, it is less than that, that means that it's from here to here, and we're going to duplicate this one, and the y value of the touch, it has to be bigger or more than the half of the height of the canvas, and it has to be bigger, okay. So now let's go here, and then, so we're going to use then, what happens when we have this condition? Well, we need to create another variable. We need to create a variable about the heading. We can use the heading normally, but I prefer to pass the value of the heading, okay, from this variable to the sprite. So now we're going to set this to 0, and that's it. Okay, now the heading, when we have this condition that we touch in this area, we want to set the heading, okay, we want to increase this heading plus, okay, so let's say that this is plus, let's say a value, global heading, we're going to increase this value plus 10. So it's going to rotate 10. So remember, the original position or the initial position is 0, that it's facing here. Now if we press this, we have to go here to the right, to the right, to the right, to the right, okay. So now but to change this, we need to pass this global heading to the sprite car heading, and we're going to do that. So now to test this, we need to enable the clock. So we're going to enable the clock when we press, in this case, the canvas. When we press the canvas to touch down. Okay, so here we're going to go to clock, and we're going to say, you know what? Enable the clock. Please, I have the values, the coordinates, so enable the clock. And now, how to disable the clock? Well, when we just stop pressing the canvas, we want to disable the clock. disable to false. So now let's check what happens when we press in here. Oops, that is a mistake because I am modifying the height of the car, sorry, and it's not the car, it's the heading, sorry, it's my mistake. So let's go in here and let's refresh the screen just to correct this thing, sorry. Now let's press this and that's it, check. Our car, if I press in here, nothing happens. Here, nothing happens. Here, nothing happens. But if I press in here, car is rotating. But now, if you check, it is not like looking very natural. The car is not like that. So, in order to make it look a little bit more natural, we're going to give a little increase. We're going to give some speed to the car. Okay, so the idea is just to to increase this value just a little bit. Okay, so well, that is the idea. So to do that, we're going to go here and we're going to, you know what, I want to create here a condition, and the condition, it has to say, it has to check if the car is not moving. Okay, if the car is like stop like right now, so we need to check if the car is moving, so or not. So we are going to check sprite car and we're going to check the speed. We go to speed and then we're going to say check if the speed it's equals to 0. We can give the speed to the car. Okay, we're going to set the speed of the car to, let's say, 1.3. Okay, so in that case the car will move a little bit, okay, and it will look more natural. Check, and that's it, and the car continues moving. So now we need to fix some things. If you check, I am rotating. So now what happens with my global heading? Let's check the value. It's very huge. So we need to stop that. We need to say, hey, you know, because this is like a circle. When you get to 360, okay, so you want to stop there and start again, okay, to reset this, because if not, we're going to increase the value and we're going to have a very big value, okay, and that probably will make the game slow. Probably, not sure, but it looks better. So let's do that. Let's add a second condition under this one, and we're going to say, hey, you know what? If the heading, if the global heading, okay, so in this case, this one, if the global heading, it is equals to 360, okay, if it's equals to 360, we want to reset the global heading, so we're going to set the global heading to 0, because it's in the limit. Okay, and we're going to start like, we can rotate and rotate and rotate, and of course we want to pass this value to the heading of the car. Okay, so now let's check if this is working. Right now we have this just like that. Okay, so we are going to reset this value, and just to avoid any mistake, check, we are going to modify just something really fast. If this value, it is equal, no, in this case equals or bigger than 360, so I want you to reset this to 0. Okay, so let's check. I am rotating this car, so I'm going to rotate, and let's see if the value, it is getting bigger and bigger, or just like stop. So let's do it, and that's it. Okay, now the value, it is not more than 360, 310, and maybe here now it's 70. Okay, in that case we fix this little issue. Now we need to go to the other side. We need to use the right, so it's very simple. In that case we can just duplicate this one, okay, or we can add an else if. So let's add an else if second condition, and we're going to duplicate this, And now think about, now when the value is less than the half of the screen, so we are going to detect in here the X and the Y, and it is more than that. So for this side, what happens? Talking about the height, okay, it is the same, so we use the same value for the Y. But for the right, now we don't want the value to be less than the half of the canvas. We want to be more than this thing, okay? This value to be bigger, okay? So in this case, we're going to change this to that. And then we are going to use something similar. We're going to duplicate these values. Instead of 10, we're going to use minus 10. And then we're going to use this one too. We're going to duplicate this condition, but now it is the same, 0, 1.3. We're not going to change that. When we move the car, if the speed is 0, we want to give a little speed. And then to avoid the value to decrease and decrease and decrease, we are going to duplicate this condition. Okay, and we're going to put it over here. Now, if the value, if it is like 0 and then minus 0, minus 10, minus 20, we want to stop, okay, this value. If the value it is less than minus 360, so we want to set the heading to that thing. So now let's see if this is first the normal one, it is like moving, okay, but now if we press this, now we have that thing. Beautiful. So now we are going to just give some let's spin it a little bit, and let's see if the value is not bigger than minus 360. Do it, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. Oops. It's not doing it. Let's wait a little bit, because you know, I guess it's going to fail my companion. Let's spin, let's spin, let's spin. Well, I guess companion will have a mistake, so an error. So let's just refresh the screen to see. Okay, now let's rotate in here. Let's try to do this thing. Well, right now it's not wanting to do that, but well, just trust in me. Okay, well, we have the car. Now the car is moving. You can move the car over here and over here and over here. Now we need to increase the speed and reduce the speed. Okay, so now to do that, we are going to use some other else if conditions inside this clock. So let's go in here and let's add two else if things. One to speed the things up and one to stop the things. So let's work with the one that is what about to stop the car? Okay, so to stop the car, we're going to do this. We're going to duplicate this one, this big condition, else if, and now we're going to use these values in here. So when the value in Y, the global touch Y, it has to be less than the half of the canvas. Less than the half of the canvas. Okay, and the X has to be more than the half of the canvas. Remember, to the right it's more. I guess that's okay. So now what we want to do right now, it is to set the speed to 0, to reduce the speed to 0, but little by little. Okay, so let's set the car speed. So let's use this one just to duplicate this one, and let's move this thing, and let's use reduce or subtraction, and we're going to subtract the current speed. Let's duplicate this one, minus what about if minus 0.1, 0.1. okay, and then I guess that would be like okay. So but maybe we need to add a condition. Okay, So we need to do this. We can use this block, okay, or this section only if the car is moving. Okay, so to do that we need to check if the car is moving. Well, to do that we are going to check here if the speed car is equals to the speed of the car. Let's duplicate this one. In this case, if the speed of the car it is bigger, okay, bigger than 0, that means that the car is moving. So in that case I want you to reduce the speed little by little. So now in this case we have some little speed in here, so let's try to break the thing, and that's it. And again I start, oh sorry, in this case check, I don't have any movement right now. Why? Because I need to give some speed to the car when we rotate, because I set the speed to 0, and then in here we need to set the sprite. Okay, well, we're going to fix that right now. Okay, so if the sprite car it is more than that, else, okay, so in this case else, what happens if not, if the car in this case, if this value is less than it's equals to 0 or is different, so we're going to set the sprite speed, duplicate this one, and we're going to set it to let's remove this one and let's set this to 0. Okay, that thing is that, and then we're going to fix the other one, that it's this the speed. We want this to increase the speed of the car when we press in this area, and press this area we can duplicate the one that it's in here, and then we're going to change some values. So first we need a value that is less than the half of the canvas, that is less, and the value it is less than the height of the canvas. I guess that's okay. So what we want now is to check if the car it is like having this, check, we're going to use this one, if the speed of the car, okay, if the speed of the car, we're going to duplicate this one, if the speed of the car it is like less than 4, that means that the car is not going very fast. We don't want the car to get very high speeds, okay? So in this case, if the speed of the car is less than 4, so we want to set the speed of the car, and we're going to remove this one. We want to increase its speed, so we're going to increase the speed of the car plus 0.1, okay? So basically that's the thing. And if the speed of the car it is more than 4, so we want to avoid the car to go there, so we want to set a constant speed of 4. So let's duplicate this one and let's set this to 4. So now let's see what happens now. We have the speed, we have the car moving. Let's brake the car, let's stop the car, then we have the car moving, okay, and that's it. So I want to increase the speed, I touch in here, and we can check the speed in here. So we can go here to screen, then we go to the title, and we set the title of the screen to the speed of the car. If we check, we have a 2.9 speed. We brake the car. Of course, if you want to have more powerful brakes, well, you just increase here in this part of the brakes, and you can make it. Okay, if not, you are going to have an accident. So basically that's the thing with this thing. Also you can make the clock more fluid. You can set it to 10 if you want. I don't know if this is going to work better or so. It changed a little bit. Let's change the speed. Brake, maybe I need more power in my brakes. Okay, so let's set them to 0.3. Speed, brake, speed, brakes. I guess that's okay. Speed 4. So powerful. Maybe 19. So let's move the car. I guess that's okay. So if we change in here, that's it. And maybe for this little when we rotate the car, we can increase the speed to 2 because we changed the interval, so that in that case I guess it's okay. So to make this let's break. Let's reduce now maybe to 3, and let's see what happens with 3. More action. And that's it. Well, that's the way you can make this kind of game. Well, just the final thing is that you just add this kind of fuel item that you have to pick. So I guess I'm not going to add the thing about shooting something, a bullet or something. Okay, so in this case we are going to add just the fuel, and we're going to use here, and let's call it gasoline sprite. So we have for the gasoline, and then the picture, fuel, that's it. And we're going to make it invisible, disable. Okay, it has to be disabled and invisible. Well, now we need another clock. We can use the same clock, okay, but it can be like confusing. So what if we just create another clock? So we are going to go here to sensors, clock. We are going to set this clock, let's keep it like that. 1 second. Let's set it to 1 second, it's okay. So let's set it to blocks, and let's add some instructions in here for this clock. So we want this sprite to appear and disappear, appear and disappear. We can create here a procedure, okay, to appear and disappear this gasoline sprite. So let's see here, and let's add visible and visible, visible, visible. Set this thing visible to true, and set this thing duplicate and enable to true. So gasoline appears. That's it. So we're going to set it every time the clock runs. Okay, but also we want to change its position. So we can use here move to, and we're going to move to random position. We're going to use here in math random. So in this case we don't want it to be in 0 or in here, so we want it to have this thing maybe like from here. What about if we have the total size of the canvas, of this canvas, it is like the width 242. What if we have it in a value that it's let's set it to 25 pixels, and then this goes to the maximum value, it is 250, I guess. 242. So 210. And then for the other one we're going to do something similar, but the value it is something 235 is the limit. So 220 and 25, it's okay, maybe 35. And then we're going to use this procedure in here. So every time the clock is running, so we are going to use this thing. You check now we have this thing, but we're going to add something else to make it a little bit more like kind of random. Okay, so we are going to use the math, and there is a very nice thing that is random fraction, and we're going to add here a condition. Random fraction, if you read the information, return a random number between 0 and 1, so from 0, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.5. Okay, and we can use this just to have some kind of variety. So if the random fraction that we get it is less than 0.35 or 0.4, for example, no, 0.3, so we want to call this value. Else, so if this value is bigger, so it is more probable that we have a bigger value. So in that case we want to make the sprite visible and invisible, enable and visible, false, and we are not going to see, it is not going to appear like automatically or something. Okay, so well, that is the idea. You add some kind of randomness using this kind of random fraction. Obviously if I increase to 0.9, okay, so it is more probable to have this value. Okay, so that's why the idea, if this value is less than that, okay, so if you have in 0.5, well, you have half and half of possibilities. So, well, if you check now, what happens when we touch this thing? We want to disappear the fuel. Okay, so we are going to add that thing. When gasoline sprite has a collision, oh sorry. So when gasoline sprite collides with, and we're going to say that with the car, if gasoline collides with the car, so we're going to add equals. I know we don't have anything, but what if we add an enemy or something? Collides with sprite car. So, well, what happens? Well, we want to, in this case, we want to disable so we want to make these things invisible. If we have a collision, we want to make it invisible. We want to also to disable the clock just for a moment. We want to disable the clock here, but check, we're going to disable the clock first and we'll set it to false, and then after we disappear this thing, we're going to appear the clock again, I mean to enable the clock. So now let's try it. So now this appears, and we have to wait for this thing to respond. Yes, that's okay. So let me increase my speed. Let's wait for this. Remember, because I have the probabilities. Oh no. Oh, I am terrible. Well, that is basically the idea. Okay, if you want this thing to appear more constantly, you just change here in fraction. You can change this to 0.7. So let's see what happens. Okay, if you check, it is more probable to appear this thing. So let's reduce this to 0.4 to make it more random. It's frequent but not very frequent, and that's it. That's the way you can make this thing. Okay, and you have this card. You check speed and spins like a little fast. You can adjust the values in here. So for example, -10. So maybe not -10, no more 10 when you are heading the car or you are rotating the car. Maybe like 7. So you can modify this thing at -7. And then you just check. If you check, the speed is reduced. No, it's not reduced. I guess it looks more natural. It feels more heavy, but more natural, as I told you. I reduce the speed. And that's it. Okay, well, I guess that's all for this tutorial. Okay, maybe we can add some more things, okay, to make it more like a game, but the idea was to show you how to make this thing move. Okay, some basic concepts, a little bit about App Inventor and Inkscape also. Okay, I guess it's very interesting to work with this thing. Okay, also we have a reduced canvas. We have 2 canvas, and I show you how to divide your canvas to have like buttons. Okay, so you have 1 button, 2 buttons. Okay, and it's quite good to have this thing. Okay, so now, well, we just can add some sounds, and with that thing you can rely down. Okay, so a car like vroom, vroom, and maybe for the brakes, and maybe for the spinning, and you have a very interesting game. Okay, so maybe you are like picking like some passengers. If you check, you can guide your car. Maybe you have here an oval, or maybe you collide with the walls. You can crash and lose. And check. Maybe you have to spin for 20 times or something. Oh, crash. And that's it. Well, my name is Eduardo. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I will share with you these simple images, just if you need it. If not, try to make them in Inkscape or in another software, in Photoshop or GIMP. Okay, it's not very difficult. Okay, we check my car. Pretty extra simple. Okay, well, but the idea is to have just like a very simple game, or kind of not. I don't think it is like retro game, but I guess I like it. So, and I hope you too. Okay, so my name is Eduardo, and I will see you next time. Thank you for watching this.